And also on these pictures, though, I
Yeah.
mean, even still stay on that one, but
Yep.
and that's why I'm showing a different array of pictures with a different,
Mhm.
Canon bodies that
Mhm.
that I've used over the years. Because I've been since digital since '97 with the
Mhm.
2 megapixel, and
Mhm.
I've had every flagship model that Canon has come out with since digital.
Jeez.
You know, and one of the perks here, like on this image here, like of Terrell Lloyd that you saw in the last one here.
Yeah.
This, I mean, he was so strong. I mean, if you look at his arms
That's
right there,
not scary.
yeah, he was recently inducted into our local Hall of Fame, right? And so they were looking for images to mimic the statue that's in the Hall of Fame, and he chose this image right here as his statue in for the Hall of Fame there. So I wanted to show that image just to get
And that goes back to your file management, because you're able to pull up the photo, not being like, get back to me in a year when I can find your photo, like your collection of your photos, and do that. That's incredible in itself. Tell me, what is the slowest shutter that you'll shoot to freeze action? I know what it is for like water, but for you, what have you found that works best for you on the minimum shutter speed for you?
Back in the day, it was like I always used to hear at least 500ths of a second, right?
Okay.
Now I'm like, because like at 500 a second, it's like you can still freeze action, really, right?
Yeah.
But if you're panning real quick and you're doing things, you're going to get some motion a little bit, just a little bit there is not as sharp, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, I never try to drop below at least 1,000 or 1250s of a second, right? If I'm in very low light situation, right?
Same with water, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So at San Jose State, I'm their athletic photographer. I've been with San Jose State doing all of their college programs for about 14 years now as well. Forgot to mention that to you, but yeah. And so I love shooting all the other different sports there, volleyball, basketball, baseball, swimming, gymnastics, everything. But at their stadium, they don't have really good lighting at their stadium, right? So I have to adjust during that time. And as the cameras got better and the ISOs got better at higher ISOs, then you can go with the higher ISO.
Gotcha.
Right. And so now, there's been times where I've gone below maybe 800ths of a second there in the corners of the end zone just to, get by and able to freeze as long as you stay with the play.
That's insane, dude. Comes with experience. Oh, So
this one here, it's this one here too. It's interesting because people say, "How do you get all these shots?" You seem like and you may say, "Well, you're all over the place."
Yeah,
you're getting you're getting sacks. I mean, it's just a matter of moving your position, keying in on like the linebackers, right? Getting, as you can see, that's a low shot. I shot that with my 300 millimeter lens, right? And I was keying in on one of our linebackers, and he came up and just lit up the running back. And then the ball pops out, and there's the ball right there, suspended in midair.
But that comes with experience, because you can't be everywhere at one time. The ball can go in different places. The sport well, your team very well, and that comes with that experience of knowing what you're shooting. Absolutely, you know what I mean? Because when I come and shoot with you over there, we're gonna be going out and looking over there, and I'm gonna be shooting that way, and you're like, Zach, like, you know what I mean? So it comes with that experience of doing it and shooting that to know exactly where it is, and getting it. It's beautiful. This is a great shot.
Like this down low shot here. This was in the playoffs.
Okay.
Right? Or playoffs, or no, I think this was the first time we played Green Bay, and then we beat them the second time. This one here, I'm in the end zone, and a lot of photographers, and you may see, they lay on the ground, right? And they're laying on, getting a low shot, bending their neck back, looking up, so on and so forth. I say, well, like I told you about my angle finder, right? Well, why don't I make it easy for me? One of our former photographers used to be with us back at Candlestick back in the day. Always had this angle finder. And I'm like, man, what's that? So it's like, he said, I get down low, I do this. I'm like, all right, well, go out, give me an angle finder. Start doing the same thing. And that's when I started doing that, because now I can just kneel down, look down. I'm not putting stress on my neck, right? And I'm looking at the angle finder and I'm panning, so on and so forth. This is with the 300 millimeter lens. And our linebackers, we just, Nick Bosa was our number one draft pick rookie. I knew he was going to cause havoc on quarterbacks, right? And we just destroyed Aaron Rodgers in this game as well. And it's funny because knowing the tendencies of what's going to happen. Sometimes I'll key on the linebackers, one over here or one over here, right? I'll pick one or the other, right? And then I'll just follow them, right? Then sometimes I would actually follow the quarterback if I'm from behind.
Mm.
And if the quarterback goes back to pass, and I know the linebackers are coming in, right? If the quarterback goes one way and the next way, I said, oh, he's in trouble. Because now you got somebody coming from the right, somebody coming from the left, right? And the next thing you know, you get a sack like this.
Jeez. You know? Damn. That's, I mean, again, that's experience, knowing exactly where you need to be, where the action, and tell us, because you can't be everywhere at one time. You are going to miss shots. That is just how it goes. It can't always be perfect. That's something that you brush off onto the next, right? Because if you're set and, oh, I miss the best catch you're doing, you're going to miss another one, or you're going to be out of a right mindset. It's like, we can't beat ourselves up, I guess is what I'm saying. Because in surf, you have the same, oh, I should have been closer and I should have been further in. Those things, you know, how do you kind of push through that to kind of be like, dust off and on to the next? You know what I mean? Like,
oh, it's hard. It's hard. It's hard to let it go,
right?
You know, but then at some point you got to let it go because you got to get your head back in the game.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think that came over time, because there was a play I missed back at Candlestick with Terrell Lloyd, right? And we beat Green Bay. And, you know, my experience wasn't the best at the time. Was still learning and so on and so forth. Steve Young goes back to pass. I thought he was going to get sacked. He threw the ball up in the air, and I'm watching the ball. I got my hands here and I'm looking up and I'm peeking from behind the camera. I said, oh, that's going out of the end zone. Next thing I know, it started tailing down, and Terrell Lloyd goes up to catch it. About the time he goes up and I raise the camera to get it, he had already caught it down here, and I missed it at the peak. And I beat myself up for a year after that. And, you know, and so I learned. I mean, you learn from that. And I tell my photographers, if you're covering a zone, I have a whole method. You know, if we ever want to do another show on something else, I have a whole method.
We're going to do a few more.
Of my thought process when I'm on the field, when I'm shooting different things, why I'm here, why I'm there, how I shoot in a half lit, backlit field where half of it's in shade, the other part's in the sun. I mean, it's just, I have a different philosophy on the way I look at it. Yeah.
Damn, dude. I love that. Like, because it is a mental sport for you as well. There are so many things going on in that situation, and the energy of all the players and the emotions of the game and being attached. You're not going there to shoot for fun per se. You know, you are having fun, but you're going there for the job, and it's also your team. You're a part of the team. And so the emotions then are even higher on all of those things, from the sacks to the touchdowns. It all goes through. So John was saying, how has your percentage of keepers improved year over year? And how much has digital tech advances like AF, et cetera, helped your keeper rate?
You know, I think over time, I mean, I think with the advent of digital and as the cameras got better and better over the years, right? And the focusing gotten better, you know, has gotten better. I think your keeper rate, your percentages goes up, right? Because if you can hold focus, lock in on focus, continue, you know, with the focus tracking and everything like that, as the cameras got better, now your keepers are increasing, right? And if you look at within the last couple of years with the 1DX2 and now the 1DX3 and then the face detection and people detection and color tracking on the mirrorless, right? It's like you're keeping more in focus images than you were before. Like, so say for example, it's like you had a series of images, and say if it was a 20 image burst, right? And then you miss maybe 4 or 5 or 6 out of there where you just didn't lock in focus, like regardless, because you gotta remember, they're moving fast, the shutter's moving fast, you're moving too. It's kind of like something's gonna miss for a minute, right?
Absolutely.
But when I first got the 1DX3 and trialed it out at practice, right? I said, okay, let me see how this tracking and focusing gonna work. I shot 70 plus images of a punt return drill, right?
Yeah.
He goes up, and I'm firing. Goes up, catches it, turns here, runs up the field, this and that. Every picture, every image was in focus. 70 images in a row, right?
Wow.
It never lost focus, no matter when he backed up, turned, run forward, turned, came up the field off the sideline, and I'm firing, moving, and everything was in focus, right? So yeah.
Damn, that is. It's definitely a game changer, and it's only going to get better as we keep moving forward. You know, that's beautiful. So, I mean, obviously not just action. As you were saying, you're shooting the marketing materials, you know, the portraits on white, black, everything it goes, everything. You're shooting anything and everything that's coming out of the organization for their media. for their partners, for everything like that. That is a huge to-do list and box to check off of a lot of different things. But obviously having a great team you can trust, bringing it down into responsibilities and finding all those things helps.
Yeah. This one here, this is when we got our black uniforms from when we opened up Levi Stadiums. And this was a shoot between me and our video department, because they had to get some videos of the uniform as well. And I had to get some detail stuff in between the shoot with just our video lights. And then I had to do a 360 image of the player, right? And so, you know, I had to research that, because you know how you can order a product and click on something and you turn them around and back and forth, right? I hadn't done anything like that before. There was a company out of LA that had this spinner and it was like where you could stand a person on, and it could take anywhere from 12 to 14, 20 images in a rotation mode,
and put it together.
Right. But the program, the software built it for you. Right. Wow. So I didn't even have to build it. So, but I had to learn how to use the software. Of course. Had to learn what it's going to do. But then you also got to tell your subject, okay, stand there. And after 20 rotations, don't move. Right. And just hold that pose. After it goes click, 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 click. Oh, yeah. It was fun, though.
Yeah. I've seen that for like products. They use a little like turntable, Lazy Susan, but I haven't seen one for a person, which is insane. That's really cool. It must be epic to see. Damn, that's rad. I think, oh, geez. What a photo. Talk to us about this one, please.
Okay. People ask me all the time, Terrell, what is the best photo you ever taken? What is, you know, and you probably hear that same thing as well, Zach, right?
Absolutely.
And it's hard to say after hundreds of thousands or millions of photos, which one stands out, right?
Yeah.
So I picked this one because this one was before I got with the team. I'm shooting from the stands. I'm 10 rows away from the field. I knew it was going to be Joe Montana's last game as a 49er, right? He got in the game. He threw a touchdown pass to Brent Jones, and he comes up with a signature point, and it was like looking straight, not at me, but where the direction I was in the stand. And this one has stood out to me.
Oh, man.
You know, I have this hanging on my wall here and stuff like that. So I'm always say that's my best photo because
what a moment.
I mean, you know, to me, you know, back in that era, Joe Montana was the best quarterback ever to play. And regardless of everything now, I mean, it's a different era, different time. I mean, you could talk about Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Kobe Bryant, or you know, now you got Joe Montana, Tom Brady, you know, and so on and so forth. So different eras, different times.
Absolutely.
You know, they're great in their own era.
Yes. Yeah. What a shot. Do you remember what you shot this on?
That one, no, I can't remember. That one actually was shot with film, though.
Yeah.
That was on a film camera, right? So, yeah.
Jeez. So as we click through some of these, how much of like a sense do you need to put like the sense of the stadium or like location? Because you showed us some amazing tight, high impact 400 millimeter lens and different things. How much of that are you balancing out with a sense of location? You know, when you're traveling to the stadiums or the different things, or, you know, building that into it, how much of that plays into like all of your images that you package together?
Like the different stadiums around the league, or just
absolutely. As you go, like how much of like more of a wider shot, because this is obviously something very different than what we've been seeing, but it's just as impactful. But it's putting me like feeling a little more there. I almost feel like I'm on the sidelines kind of a little more, you know what I mean? Like as opposed to some of those other ones where right in there, you're seeing the ripples of the muscles. I mean, still here you are, but seeing a little bit wider, how much of that are you balancing out?
I mean, I should be balancing more. It's like back in the day, I did get more wide stuff than what I do now. But then again, even in some of my array, it's like if I showed other images, you'll see some of the wider shots. Whereas if it's a timeout with nice light, you know, in the stadium, clouds up at the top, stuff like that. You know, you want to get wide stuff when you can.
Absolutely.
I think I do have a stadium. I don't know if I got a stadium shot.
I think we have one coming up.
But this one here, let's go back to this one here for a minute. But this was our last game at Candlestick before we went to the new stadium. And Atlanta was moving down to getting ready to score. We were winning 27-24 with so much time left. And Navarro Bowman intercepted the pass and ran it back like 80 yards for a touchdown. Now I'm right around the 30-yard line with this. This is like he's coming up the field where I got my 7200. Normally I'm in the end zone, right? with my longer lens, right? But they were moving down the field the other way. So I said, well, let me come up a little bit to get a little tighter in case, so I can in case they stop them on the goal line.
Yeah.
And as I stopped at the 30, right, get ready just to shoot a play real quick, I was getting ready to go down to the other side of the field, and he intercepts and runs right by me the other way. And where he ran the end zone and scored a touchdown, I would have been sitting right there if I didn't.
Jesus.
One play, I would have been there, but this still shows like
right
from a wide image. Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Between Sets. Make sure to like and subscribe to be tuned in on all future episodes. Thank you.